Today we're going to look at an introduction to equations. An equation is a mathematical statement describing how two expressions are equal. So there'll be two expressions and they'll be separated by an equal sign. One of the mistakes that a lot of students make is they think that what an equal sign means is that now they have to calculate. So if they were given this, they'd try and work from left to right and try and actually calculate what they've found on the left hand side here, which isn't the case at all. The way it really works is it's like a set of scales saying that whatever is on the left hand side is equal and balanced with whatever's on the right hand side. So this value here, the value of 2x plus 5 is the same value as 3x minus 2. So they're balanced on the scales. Equations have a left-hand side and a right-hand side. So 2x plus 5 over here is on our left-hand side of the equation, and 3x minus 2 is on the right-hand side of the equation. Now, equations can be true or false. For an equation to be true, the left-hand side must be the same as the right-hand side. They must be balanced. So they must have the same value. So whatever value you have on the left-hand side must be the same as the value that you have on the right-hand side. That would be a true equation. For an example here is 2 plus 3 equals 5. We've got two sides of the equation, the left-hand side and the right-hand side. The left-hand side, it has the value of 5, 2 plus 3 is 5, and that's the same as the value on the right-hand side of the equation. Equations can be false as well. That's when we have the scales are unbalanced. The scales are unbalanced. So that's when it's a statement that's not true, it's false. So the left-hand side is not equal to the right-hand side. So for example here, 5 plus 2, that's equal to 12. So that is not the same value on the left-hand side than we have on the right-hand side of our equation. So this is a false equation. This equation here is true. If an equation contains a variable, such as x here, x, contains a variable, you need to know its value before you can decide whether or not the equation is true. So for our little example here, 3x equals 12, it will only be true if x is 4, because 3 times 4 on the left-hand side of our equation is the same as 12 on the right-hand side of our equation. Looking at an example here, first, state whether or not the following equations are true or false. So we need to make a statement about whether they're true or false, but we need to be able to show how we've worked that out. So our first example, 10 plus b is equal to 3b plus 1. So we've got our left-hand side of the equation and the right-hand side of the equation if b equals 4. So we need to substitute in b equals 4 into this equation to determine if it's true. And we'll be doing a similar thing for our equation here to determine whether it is true or false. So let's have a look at our first example and look at the left-hand side of the equation first and see what it is equivalent to when b is equal to 4. So we know b is equal to 4, so we need to substitute that in. So because we know b is equal to 4, we can substitute our value for b, or value of b equals 4 into that equation and then evaluate it. So 10 plus 4 is equal to 14. We found out what the left-hand side of the equation is. Now we need to make sure we find out what the right-hand side is. So the right-hand side is 3b plus 1. 3b plus 1, we know that b is equal to 4. So we substitute b is equal to 4, and we know because we've got 3b, that's the same as 3 times b. So that's 3 times 4 plus 1. 3 times 4 is 12. 12 plus 1 is 13. Now the left-hand side is not equal to the right-hand side. They're different values. Left-hand side was 14, our right-hand side is 13. So the left-hand side is not equal to the right-hand side. The symbol here, remember, means is not equal to the right-hand side. And that means that our equation is unbalanced. Our equation must be false. Therefore, this is the symbol for therefore, the equation is false. Let's have a look at b here. Our left-hand side of the equation, 3 plus 2x. 3 plus 2x, we know that x is equal to 5. X is equal to 5. So we are substituting in 5 for x here. And we've got 3 plus 2x, which is the same as 2 times x, 2 times 5 in this case, because we're substituting in, x equals 5. So if we do the 2 times 5 first, that's 10, following the order of operations. 10 plus 3 is 13. So our left-hand side is equal to 13 when we substitute in x equals 5. The right-hand side of our equation is 21 minus y. 21 minus y, we know y is equal to 8. Y is equal to 8. So we substitute that in. 21 minus 8 is 13. We can see that our left-hand side is equal to our right-hand side. Our left-hand side is equal to our right-hand side. Therefore, our equation is balanced. The value on the left-hand side is the same as the value on the right-hand side. Therefore, the equation is true. One last example. We need to write an equation for the following scenarios. Priya's age is currently J years old. In 5 years' time, her age will be 17. Let's have a look at that example first. Her age is currently J years old. In 5 years' time, that's going to be adding on another 5 years. Adding on another 5 years. And that will be equal to, it will be the same as 17. So if I have her age now, J, and I add on 5 years, that will be the same as 17. That will be 17 in 5 years' time. So on the left-hand side, we have J, and we're increasing J by 5 years. And then we know what that value is in that 5 years' time is 17. We know that those values on either side of the equation must be the same. A more challenging example here. Corey earns W dollars per week. He spends 1/12 on sport and 2/13 on food. The total amount Corey spends on sport and food is $300. We can look here about if we've got 1/12, that's 1/12 of the W dollars, and this here 2/13 is 2/13 of the W dollars on food. The total, when we're looking at total, that means we're adding the two values together, summing them together. The total amount Corey spends on sport and food is $300. So this is telling us we need to unpack and think about what each of these statements means. So if we're earning W dollars per week, this is the amount on sport, 1/12 of W. And we know that of is similar to, or we can use multiplication. So we could multiply 1/12 by W, and the same for his amount of food. Then if we add those two values together, we get the total amount that he has spent on food. So we see here 1/12 of W is the same as 1/12 times W, and we're adding together because this is the total. We're totaling up our total amount. We're adding this amount to this amount. And if we add those two numbers together, we know that the total amount, we add those two together, we get $300. So we've said if we add this value and this value, the amount he spends on sport, so this is the amount he spent on sport, and this is the amount he spent on food, we get $300. This is 1/12 times W plus 2/13 times W is equal to 300.